we're taking you on a journey to the top of the world where the effects of global warming can be seen right now. And what's happening up in the Arctic Ocean is affecting our weather down here thousands of miles away. Daniel Seberg is just back from an incredible voyage that took him from Nova Scotia up through the Northwest Passage to literally the top of the world. And Daniel, I know the waters in this part of the world are largely unexplored, but to quote that ad, we really are all connected?
Yeah, definitely, Katie. You know, even scientists used to think of the Arctic Ocean as kind of the attic at the top of our global house, if you will, remote and unimportant. But they now know that through new research, those waters up in the north flow down through the rest of the world.
And as those waters warm, what does that portend for our weather?
Well, think of ocean circulation as a major contributor to climate change where we live. So if you think of sort of a worldwide dance that's happening between the sun, winds, and the ocean, you can think of those as the prime movers that are shifting around weather patterns throughout the world. And as higher temperatures go up in the Arctic, they can bring with them serious instability even as they flow south. And you know, actually we met one scientist who demonstrates this idea with an old maritime tradition, a message in a bottle.
Everywhere you look, there's a puzzle. Everywhere you look, there's beauty.
Eddie Carmack has been bringing that curiosity to the Arctic nearly every year since 1969. He's had close encounters with polar bears and taken ice-breaking trips to the North Pole. Carmack's an expert in ocean currents, and he's got a simple message. What happens here affects climate everywhere. We took him by helicopter to an ice floe off the coast of Greenland to get an idea of what's at stake.
We're standing on a river of ice that's streaming out of the Arctic. When it reaches the North Atlantic, it's going to melt. It'll make the waters there fresher and lighter and affect the whole ocean circulation.
And as the temperature of Arctic water increases, Carmack says, it can lead to more extreme weather around the planet, since oceans act as the Earth's heating and cooling system.
It's not a stretch long term to say that what's happening in the Arctic could have an impact on everything from, say, hurricane patterns and strength to drought in the West.
That's not a stretch at all.
The Arctic Ocean was once thought to be isolated from the rest of the world's waterways, but scientists now know that it's intricately connected to both the Pacific and the Atlantic, and that even minor changes here can affect those oceans as well.
The Arctic waters don't flow in a perfect shape, but rather zig and zag within our neighboring oceans through various gateways. So as these waters warm, the effects of climate and wildlife convert to the rest of the world. Carmack uses what he calls folk science to demonstrate this and get school kids interested. Bottles containing a short message from elementary students.
This is a message from Malina.
And Carmack's contact information are tossed overboard each time stops to collect data.
We developed a particularly good toss.
You want to throw it that way and not that way.
To date, how many of these have you tossed over?
About 4,000.
4,000. And of those, how many has somebody found?
We're getting up to around 150.
On average, the bottles take about 2 years to be found, and the places they show up might surprise you. From Norway to Alaska, France, even Brazil, unsuspecting citizens have become lab assistants in a global study.
It's actually teaching all of us a little something about real science.
Well, it is.
A simple experiment that proves a serious concept. As these waters are warming, they're traveling downstream with consequences for our climate. It's our vital connection to the top of the world. For more on our track, you can just go to cbsnews.com and click on Journey to the Top of the World. There you'll find blogs, videos, and even some behind-the-scenes photos. Katie?
Daniel, thanks so much for such a terrific series. It was wonderful. Coming up next,